Welcome to Underdog Hoops, presented by great coaches in our basketball community. From the Underdog Hoops studio in Rancho Cucamonga, California, here is your host, Sam Farrar.
If you're a coach who wants to bounce ideas off of other coaches through a podcast and haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest and most simple way to podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can also make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm to get started. Thank you. Hey guys, Coach Sam here from Underdog Hoops. Today is episode 1, the About Me. I'm going to do my first year, and then we're going to have 5 episodes for 5 different years that I've been coaching. So my first year started when I had asked my high school coach if I could coach the freshman team with the other head coach. And he had said, sure, you just got to ask the freshman head coach. And it was a new coach, new to the freshman. He was with the program before, and I knew him, and we would seem to be on the same page. He said, sure, why not? So my first year started the year after I graduated high school in the summer of 2015. I was named the assistant coach for freshmen. And it really was harder than I thought. The aspects of coaching at a high school level and having the kids respect you, and when the other coach isn't there or stuff like that. That's the hardest thing that I had to learn, is that you have to have these kids respect you, or you have to gain their respect. You can't just have them be forced to respect you. And that's really, I remember when I was a freshman and the assistant coach for our team was trying to, help us out, but he was an adult and he was trying, and I'll say that freshmen are pretty bad at listening to a secondary figure, not the primary figure. But even if that's the case, you can still gain people's respect, your athletes' respect, if you teach them the right things. Now, if you don't teach them the right things, they're going to know. And that's honestly what the struggle was for me, is I just started this, and these kids are pretty good, and they, I needed to figure out what they needed to do to get better, and it was a challenge. And yeah, I accepted the challenge. I tried to figure out what we needed to work on, but that group was pretty good, and it honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do it if that coach let me on, and it's been a blessing. because I don't know if I'd be anywhere else coaching without him. But that was my first year. That and it was a pretty good group. But there was also a lot of challenges. We were 12-4, which I think was our best record in the program. Some of those freshmen could have been JV players or varsity players, but they didn't, because we thought they'd mesh together well, and we want them to grow together. Now, as I say that, half those people didn't make it through 4 years. I think only one did, and he was ineligible his freshman year. And he actually made it through all 4 years. But that was the only one out of that first group that made it all 4 years. And it kind of shocked me because I thought, oh wow, like that's crazy. The only kid to make it 4 years in the program, and it wasn't even 4 years because he got he was ineligible, like I think for a year and a half. So he started playing as JV, and then he kind of got back into the rhythm, and then he was good enough to make varsity. But it was just kind of like that was my first year. All these kids transferred after their freshman year to different schools because their parents either didn't like the school that they were at or saw better opportunities in football or basketball, or they just moved out of town because they had to. But a lot of it is that, and you don't realize it, but you maybe keep 1 to 5 guys the whole time. That's probably it. And if you keep more, that's very rare from freshman to senior year. But that's what I learned like after the fact and during my first year of coaching. It was like you these kids come and go, and you just gotta deal with it, coach to the best of your ability, and learn not to make the mistake you did 2 weeks ago or 1 month ago or 5 years ago. It's stuff like that. I didn't know how to handle these kids when I first started. Now I'm pretty good. I'm still not there, but I've gained an understanding of uh, how to get respect from them and help them with their basketball career. Uh, and that was basically my first year. Like you learn a lot in your first year and your second year. So that's my first year, and I'll get into more of how I started my second, third, fourth, fifth year, and how I started this business where I want to help coaches because it's becoming harder and harder and harder, and I am young, so helping maybe some older coaches or younger coaches, whatever I can do to help you guys understand how these kids operate is what I want to do. So if you do like this show, please subscribe and like to it. I would really appreciate it. And I'll have episode 2 up in a few days, and we will continue to talk about my years as a coach. Thank you. Have a good day. Hey guys, Coach Sam here from Underdog Hoops. So today is episode 2 and the About Me, and I'm going to have 3 more episodes after this one for the 5 years that I've been coaching. I'm going to go over 1 year at every episode. So, year two, man. So, year two was a whirlwind just because I didn't expect half the things to happen that did. And it wasn't the greatest group, but they were still pretty good. So that group in the summer, we started out in the summer. We got some summer talent. We had like 8 deep, um, and we had you know great bench pieces. We were pretty stacked, like more stacked than my other team, my first year team. Um, and usually, what would happen in our program, we would have the freshmen stay on freshmen for the summer, and then they would move up if they would like to, or if they got called up to like a JV or varsity. So in this case, we had all these stud freshmen in the summer, and we were 8 deep easy. We were doing pretty good in our teams. Uh, we were performing really well. Now, summer ends. You have like a few weeks before you start fall tryouts. So you have fall tryouts for winter, and I come back and I see that over uh start half my starting staff or starting group was either transferred, didn't want to play, um, or they just their parents pulled them out. So what ended up happening was we were maybe 4 deep. So we didn't know what we were gonna do. Um, we had ineligible players. We had parents that thought their kid was great, but you really have to just. I've learned to deal with that. You have to understand that they they obviously think their parent or their kid is going to be great, but your kid has to tell them, look, this is the stuff that he has told me to do, and most of the time they haven't done it, or most of the time they will lie or something. But beside the point, uh, um, that group we we were kind of even throughout the season. We didn't have the best record. I think the JV squad did that year. Um, so we had some shooters. But we didn't have people that could handle the ball, and that was the problem. Is people would be dribbling and then get it stolen, and you can't run any offense if you can't dribble and uh, command the ball. So with that year, it was a little harder for us. And now I know after 5 years of coaching, it's you understand more of what drills you need to do. Like I understand I do dribbling drills every single day because um, they they just need to practice on it. And if they don't, they won't practice on it at home most of the time. So you have to make it a point to practice that they need. This is a fundamental basketball skill. You need to learn how to dribble. You need to learn how to command the ball. You need to learn how to dribble between your legs. You need to learn how to turn someone uh, and get an advantage. Uh, get people on their feet, like crossover. They go down. My kids call it a jelly, but um, just that stuff that year would have helped a lot. We had, and it was just an overall like decent year. I wouldn't say it was definitely not our best year. We have many aspects of this group that like one of our guards got pulled up, so that's why we couldn't dribble. And he wasn't even a guard; he was more like a four, but he could dribble. So we were basically using him as our guy to dribble. Um, and that really was it for that second year. That second year was not the best year for us, but we learned a lot. And that's all you could do is learn, grow from your mistakes, grow from year to year, and develop a culture and understanding of the sport of basketball. Um, and that group, I think we that group was uh, had got grasped that at the end of the year, um, and we were able to go on and uh, so that next third year, we'll be talking about tomorrow, and that third year was probably my my second best year, I would say, as a coach so far. So stay tuned for that episode. If you like this episode, you could go ahead and give us a 5-star review. That'd be really great. Uh, but nothing short of a 5-star review would isn't necessary. Um, so I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.